Hello. Hi, everybody. This is Cheryl, and this is Person-Centered Cyber. Thank you so much for being here today. I'm just trying to get my lighting together, right? Y'all, I got all this equipment. I don't know how to work it. Okay, that one's better. Ooh. Oh, no. Okay. That's going to have to do. All right. How are y'all today? Make sure I got the right banner on here. I realized for one of my videos, I had the wrong banner up for one of my other channels. Oh, not the wrong banner, just, a banner for my other channel. All right, so today we are talking about vulnerability as a security control. Now, I started putting this together, okay, and yesterday. And again, I apologize for not being on yesterday. I was supposed to be on yesterday, but my tummy was hurting and I could not do a lot of stuff because I wasn't feeling well. But here we are today. All right. So I have a lot of stuff here. And I just told someone that if I don't chop this down some, we're going to be online for 3 hours, which means I'll probably be on here by myself. Right. So I'm not going to go through everything, but I just want to give you the highlights of what I've discovered when it comes to vulnerability as a security control. Now, I'm going to have to give you a little disclaimer. Hi, Elle Style. Good evening. How are you? How you doing? So glad you're here. I got to give you a disclaimer. I know that on this channel, I have a lot of testosterone in the chats, okay? Which I love. I love it. Okay. I love that I have my men out there here, hanging out with me. This is wonderful. But I need you to know that today you're going to hear some things that are shocking, that are, going to make you want to shake your head. And I know what I'm talking about, okay, because I've already experienced it. But what I need you to do, just to hang out with me for a little while and just be curious, okay? Hey, Professor Black Ops, I'm so glad you're here. So I'm asking questions, okay? So I need y'all to hang out with me in a space where we're just wondering, okay? We don't really have any answers, but we're wondering, okay? So I hope you can be comfortable hanging out with me in some uncertainty for a little bit, all right? Because I know that can get uncomfortable. I know, okay? So. Now, like I said, I'm not going to go through all these things. We're going to be on here all night. But I'm just going to give you some of the highlights. Okay. You would think that I would have figured this out by now. Okay, I'm going to hide that view. Hold on. I got to turn on my TV. So instead of getting a regular screen, I just got a television, a smart TV to use as my other monitor. There it is. Okay. Let's try this again. Share screen. It's that one. There we go. Vulnerability as a security control. All right, guys, here we go. Now, ask questions, anything, if y'all want to come up when I'm done to chat about it, we can do that too. I had a lot of fun doing this research and putting all this stuff together. I'm still baking it, okay? It's still in the oven, but it's done enough to let you guys, get a little whiff of what it smells like, get an idea of how sweet it's gonna be when it's done. Okay, it's still piping hot, but I can give you a little. Okay, I can give you a little bit of taste. Okay, so here we go. Okay, now this is what I'm talking about using vulnerability to do. All right, accept, deter, protect, respond, and recover. And we're going to get to how, how this is going to happen. So these are some of the books, just some, okay, that I use to help me put this stuff together. This first book, Enterprise Risk Management, I use this for everything. I mean, I'm telling you everything, okay, because it's so good. The Phoenix Project is amazing. If y'all haven't read this, please pick it up. It's like a novel, but it talks about how a CIO, what a CIO is going through in his organization to help get out this product, and the organization is pretty much dysfunctional, and it's how they get it back on the rails, okay, so that they can get this product out. It's a very, very, very realistic book. And then Don't Think Like an Elephant. Now, this one is more about politics, but it's very good because I talk in here about framing. And this book does an amazing job of talking about how the way we talk about things helps us to see and understand it in a certain way. So this book was really important for this presentation too. Okay, so here's the current state of things. Okay, now all of this, of course, is from my perspective and informed by other research, okay, just so you know. Cybersecurity is the 5th operational domain of warfare. DoD has confirmed it, okay? It was NATO in 2016, I believe, that suggested that cybersecurity be the 5th operational domain of warfare. And here today it is. Security is left for later. This is something that we're all familiar with. I've heard this countless times that, even though we have DevSecOps and we give all the speeches about security is first and everybody's responsibility and all that, people still like, listen, I'm trying to make money, I ain't got time. And Phoenix Project did a good job of demonstrating how this is as well. There's a scene in the book where they didn't even invite the security guy to the meeting because they were like, listen, we're trying to get some work done. You invite him, ain't nothing gonna happen. Okay, so just leave him out. And then users or people are the weakest link. That's like a sermon, okay? On Twitter, somebody's preaching a sermon about how users are the weakest link, okay? So these last two are issues, right? Those are current problems that we seem to have right now in the community. And this is the 5th domain website, okay? So this is Cybercom, right? I said DoD has declared that cyberspace is the 5th domain of war to go along with, air, space, land, and sea. All right, so now we're fighting up in cyberspace, okay? Okay, and these are some of the things out there to help us win the fight. All right, you got academia, you got industry stuff, CompTIA, EC Council. The government has, I can't even tell you how many things they got going on for cyber. I just saw an advertisement today. I think it's Google that's putting on something for women, or I think you have to be like 12 to 23 or something like that to participate in this thing that they have to become a cybersecurity professional. I even saw something for, I think it was first time mothers? It was that specific to get them into the cybersecurity field. First of all, I think that was neat. Like that was really neat. Or maybe it was single mothers. It was something like that, but it had something to do with mothers. Okay, it was just, it was really great. Yeah, so here's I love the framework that shows all the different kinds of jobs you can get in cybersecurity, which I think is the first thing people need to see, okay? Because when people first come in, they think the first thing they think of is hacking, okay? Like that's and coding or programming or something, when there's so much more to do in this space, all right? Now, all of this is coming together to give us this frame of cyberspace and our job as cybersecurity professionals within this frame, okay? So warfare, network, viruses, hackers, firewall. You see, so this is a word cloud. So a word cloud, what you do is you put in Like, let's say I had a magazine article or something, and I cut and paste all the words, and the word cloud will make a cloud of that article, but the words that appear the most will be biggest. Okay. So this is what I did with a, not I did, but this is what I found for cyberspace. Okay. So these kinds of things, this is what we think of: espionage, you see criminal, safety, terrorism, military, spyware, danger, attack, disruption, integrity. This is stuff we hear every day. Okay, cyber crime, cyber terrorism, you hear hacker 35 times a day, right? Privacy, all that stuff. Okay, this is how we have framed it. And remember what I said in the beginning: how you frame stuff will determine how you respond, okay? And how you understand it, how you see it. This is one of the greatest books ever written. I don't care what nobody's saying. And it applies everywhere. I don't care if you're a fisherman in Alaska. This book is relevant, okay? Now, this is one of the quotes in it: a brilliant solution to the wrong problem can be worse than no solution at all. So you got to be sure you're solving the correct problem, okay? And I saw this written somewhere else where it was, you cannot solve a problem where it isn't, okay? So if I have a fire in the kitchen, putting water in the basement ain't gonna do nothing, okay? It's not gonna stop the fire unless the fire gets to the basement, okay? But if it's in the kitchen, that's where I need to go to put it out, right? Okay. Now look at this. Evolution of the mobile phone. Here I found some problems that people reported with some of these phones. So the Nokia 6210, which is the fourth one from my left, okay? If I listen to my MP3 files on my phone while I'm using it as a modem, the player scratches, accelerates, and make crackling and pop sounds, okay? Now, this is another one for the Samsung E250. If I take a photo, it makes a black spot over the image in the left corner until I close the image and reopen it. Now, I used this slide when I was doing, talking about evolving problems. Instead of trying to constantly solve the same problem, solve the problem, it is possible to evolve it, because you're always going to have problems. You will never have a moment, never. I mean, as far as I've seen and experienced on this earth, you'll never have a moment when you don't have some kind of problem, okay? So if that's the case, if I'm gonna have one anyway, I'd rather have an evolved problem. That SAT phone, the SAT phone, I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. I don't even see the first phone. The first phone I got was which one? It could have been the 6210, or maybe, I don't know, child. It was a flip one. It was a flip phone for sure. It wasn't the 6210. But I was late to the party, okay? So I was talking about evolving problems. So if I have a problem, and I use, for example, The Real Housewives. You know, that's one of my guilty pleasures. I watch The Real Housewives sometimes when I have time. And they be fighting over stuff like, you know, who's making the plans to go to Hawaii this year. You know, that's the problem they're trying to solve. Who I'm not doing it. I did it last year. You know, and you got a big fight over who making the trip. You know, who's planning the trip. Listen, if that's a problem, okay, then I want that one. I want that problem, okay? You know what I'm saying? Rather than this. So this is what this is about, right? Evolving the problem. You know, I'd rather have a Bluetooth issue than an issue with, you know, my flip ain't coming up on the phone. Did you know what I'm saying? You did not have a bag phone. You better stop. You did not. You're that seasoned that you had a bag phone? Are you telling the truth? Come on now. Professor Black Ops, you seasoned on both sides? Huh? Oh my goodness. So people don't give a damn about security, okay? Or they wait till the last minute, you know, to do it. They don't want the security people in a meeting, okay, and all that stuff. 53 years, okay. And users keep clicking on shit they ain't got no business clicking on, okay. How can we solve how can we solve just these problems? Now what I'm about to provide solves a myriad, you know, or not even solves, but evolves the problems. But let's just stick with these two for now, okay, because everybody talk about that. Malcolm Gladwell is one of my favorite people in the world, okay. He's an author and he has a podcast. And I love everything he does. So he had a talk in Dubai where he talked about the difference between puzzles and mysteries. Okay, and he said we're at the point in time where we need to start paying more attention to solving mysteries versus puzzles. Okay, or to look at problems as mysteries rather than puzzles. You said when is there money involved, they'll care. They will. But you know what, L Style? Professor Black Ops said something the other night about being at the bottom of Maslow's hierarchy of needs, right? And I'm so happy you said that because that really helped me to clarify some of the ways I wanted to present this. So thank you for that. Of course, I read Outliers. Come on. That book was amazing. And I started What the Dog Saw. It's on my Audible. And I read the other one. What was the other one he wrote? He wrote another one that was amazing too, that I read. So puzzles versus mysteries. So with puzzles you can solve easily, right? Because first of all, because you know there's an answer. You know, it may not be easy to solve, but you at least know there is a piece that fits right here, and this is the shape and all that, okay? So with puzzles, it's not enough information, but you know that there is the right answer, okay? There's a right answer. No other puzzle piece is going to fit there except the right one, all right? So the question with puzzles is, do I have the right information, all right? So we're moving from that over to mysteries. So with mysteries, you have too much information, all right? You saw with puzzles, there wasn't enough. With mysteries, you have too much, all right? You cannot answer a mystery. There is no right answer for a mystery, right? You can only frame it. You can only frame a mystery, okay? And the question is, do I have enough information? The question is not like it is with the puzzle where do I have the right information? Here it's, do I have enough? Okay, so you see the difference between those two? So, which is why we're using frames for this issue, for the issue of, you know, people don't really value security, you know, the way it should be valued. And people don't, and users are the weakest link. I hate that, okay? But that's what the narrative is. So, you know, so that's why I'm saying it. Okay. So that's what we're going to do. So the last frame you saw the cyber warfare, the attack, the this, the that, the, you know, the way we've currently framed it. So we're going to start with a fresh frame. Okay. With nothing in there. Okay. Okay. And we're going to use this process to find out what's going to fit in that frame. Have y'all heard of biomimicry or biomimetics? Okay. This is amazing. And this is just where you go to nature to solve problems. That's basically what it is. So a lot of the stuff we use today, we use because of the biomimetic process, like Velcro, right? Velcro is something that was, that mimics, I forget the name of the plant in nature. You know, when you walk in and that shit just stick to you. We used to have that a lot in Louisiana. I walk through the high grass and come out there. I mean, stuff just stuck all over my pants. You can only separate the signal from the noise for it to make sense. I have that book too, Signal and the Noise. I haven't finished reading it, but absolutely right. Absolutely. And biomimicry is already used right now in IT, and I mean every area, but it's used in IT as well. And this gentleman, Dr. Philip, I'm not sure how to pronounce that. Wally, maybe. He won the Gordon Bell Prize, which is kind of like the Nobel Prize for developing the fastest supercomputer software in the world. And guess what he used to help him come up with that idea? A beehive. He used biomimicry. He went to nature to see what is the best way for me to build this, and he mimicked a beehive, a root word for bionics. Okay, yeah. El Sal, are you a professor too? Because you know a lot of stuff here. Make some really great contributions. Okay, and I have also used biomimicry, as I mentioned before, to help in learning and development. Before I arrived, we were using a pyramid-shaped evaluation process. And before I left, I created another one, okay? That is more organic, person-centered. It frames rather than solves puzzles, and it looks for enough information to evaluate, okay? If you're on my LinkedIn, you saw that I put this quote on there. You cannot hack yourself secure. I love this to death. Chris Romeo said it. This is his website, Security Journey. He just did an interview on another channel. I think it's Security Weekly here on YouTube. He did an interview where he was talking about, he works with developers, helping them to do things to secure their work. And this is a quote, something that he says: "You cannot hack yourself secure." And that's true, right? Which is why, I mean, I don't. Yeah, let me just go on. You already heard my opinion about all that. Now, this is the question. This is the question. I told you, just hang out with me. Just wonder, okay? Don't run to an answer. Just hang out with me for like 15 minutes, okay? It's all right. You're going to be okay. All right? You're going to be fine. I'm right here with you. All right, let's just hold this question. Okay? Now, I wrote it like this: decolonizing, because what I've come to realize is that colonization happens mentally as well, okay? Your thinking can absolutely be colonized to where you don't even think about questioning, what some authority has told you, or what some authority has written, or what some authority, has passed on, down to somebody else, So there's a lot of decolonization that needs to happen in various professions, in my from what I see. And I'm only able to do this because I've been practicing it. I've been practicing questioning absolute answers. Okay. So it's easy for me now. Okay. In the beginning, I was like, what the hell do I have to question that for? I already know the answer, So again, just hang out with me. Okay, you're gonna be all right. We're almost done. Okay. Attacks are events. So a cyber attack, is it really an attack? Okay, is that really what it is? Okay, now let's see. This is Webster. Mr. Webster says this is what an attack is: to take aggressive action against a place or enemy with weapons or armed force, typically in a battle or war. And we see that cyberspace is a war-fighting domain. Okay, so attack would make sense. Okay, now what's an event? Just something that happens, especially something of importance, which is very subjective. Okay, something important that happens is an event. Now look at this. I made a video. Now I'm going to put these slides on my Patreon because I have links and stuff in here to do further research. But if you're not on my Patreon, you just ain't gonna get it. Anyway, this link, but you can look this up now. Okay, just type in cyberspace is not a warfighting domain and you'll see this article. It's a very good article, you know, and something that he says in here, this he's a US Air Force retired general, okay? Thinking about cyberspace as a warfighting domain is not helpful, which is something that he says in here, and he gives amazing reasons why. He has a good argument, okay? He does. Now let's look at this. Let me tell you what you're looking at. On the left side, I gotta make this bigger. I don't know how much it's gonna help, but yeah, that didn't help a lot, but that's okay. So on the left side, you have one of those maps that shows you the real-time cyber attacks, okay? And on the left, you have another map that shows you what storms are going on right now. These are actually cyclones and hurricanes, okay? Now, what I've done here is I've taken on the far left, in the yellow, you have what is different about these two things. And in the middle, you have what's the same, okay? So on the left, with the cyber attack map, I have here information hoarding is the norm. But I was happy to see that the Information Sharing and Analysis Center, or ISACSs, are in place to help us share information about when attacks happen, okay? So not all businesses, infrastructures, governments, or individuals have experienced a large-scale cyber attack. Okay, now that's something else. Now let me go to the other side so you can see what the opposite one is. So for the storm information, data about dangerous weather patterns are widely shared. Meteorologists and these people who study this stuff, they share stuff around the world about what the hell is going on with the weather, okay? Because we all need to know, right? You know, so we can prepare and do the shit we need to do to stay safe. And all the world has experienced a large-scale weather event. Unless y'all know something different, okay? Who in the world has not experienced some kind of storm? Okay, now let's go back to the left. The internet is not accessible to all people or areas of the world. And of course, back to the right, everyone experiences weather. Everybody, in all of its forms, okay? Now, depending on where you live, okay? But everybody experiences weather. Now back to the left. Cyberspace is, now this is from the article, Cyberspace is not a warfighting domain. The retired general says cyberspace is man-made and malleable, which means we can change it, okay? Now, of course, nature, it's natural and unchangeable. Like we can't, water is H2O. That's just what it is, okay? I mean, that's what it is. You know, it is what it is, right? Same with the air and the land and the trees are made of carbon. I mean, you know what? Like that's just what it is, okay? And back to the left, systems are connected to the rest of the world through cyberspace, right? So just like physical space, you know, connects everything, cyberspace connects digital systems, right? That's what happens. Now look in the middle here. I hope you can see this. This is where these two things are the same. So they seem to come from nowhere, but there are warning signs. I was just talking to someone today about the Equifax breach. How when you read about that, they said that actually began, I think the Equifax breach happened in 2017. They said it actually, hey, keep it techie. They said it actually started in 2005 when they got a partnership between Equifax, not Equifax, like somebody Equifax is partnered with. I mean, there's a whole bunch of stuff going on in there, okay? And the second one, there are warning signs that stuff is coming. Like, you know when a hurricane is a coming, okay? Even if you don't hear it from the meteorologist, the weather gets a certain way. It starts to get windy. I'm from Louisiana, right? We knew when a hurricane was coming. My grandma said her knee started to hurt. That's how she knew one was coming. Okay, there are warning signs. Okay, now the second one can devastate businesses and infrastructure and cripple all levels of government. We know for a fact that weather can do that. A tsunami, a hurricane, a volcano erupting. I mean, just lay shit out flat. Okay, Mount St. Helens. Y'all seen that video in school, right? She wasn't playing with nobody. Okay, and we also know that some attacks, cyber attacks can do that too. They can really devastate businesses and the things that the businesses impact. Okay, can take varying forms. Yeah, so on the left side, the cyber attacks take various forms, and storms. Every storm isn't a hurricane, okay? Every storm isn't a windstorm, right? Requires certain conditions. Okay, now a hurricane don't just pop up out of nowhere. Okay, you have to have certain high pressure, low pressure, atmospheric shit, temperature, precipitation, cloud, all that stuff got to come together to make what we call a hurricane. Okay, same thing with the cyber. It's not just one day a user clicks a link and bam, cyber attack. No. So shit was going on behind the scenes, just like the Equifax, possibly years before, that have now accumulated to this particular moment in time. Okay, that's very important with determining actually what this is. Okay, or reframing it a different way. And the last one are a subset of a whole. So where I'm sitting right now in Virginia is they got some weather going on. Okay, it's not bad weather. It's pretty nice outside. It's not too cold. What is kind of fallish or whatever. But this is not my spot of weather. You know what I'm saying? Like, this is part of an entire whole, a global system. Same with the internet. Okay, your local area network is a part of a global system, right? You put some lines of demarcation to say, this is mine, my IP address, the firewall, you do that kind of stuff. But at the end of the day, it's a part of a global system. Okay, unless you just ain't got no, digital stuff where you are. Okay. But even if you don't, you're still impacted by it in some kind of way. All right, let's move on to the next one, because I won't keep y'all on here all night. Let's get to the juicy stuff. Okay, now I already said this, right? An event is not really an event. Okay, it's a collection of stuff going on, and it keeps going on. Even after the event, it's still happening. Like, whatever those processes are, they've just morphed into, something else, a different kind of process. All right. Now, this picture is from The Wizard of Oz. I tried to find one from The Wiz, but I couldn't find one. Let me try to get myself back in the picture a little bit. Here we go. So this is how we handle what I just talked about with the storm. Okay. Now, this is about climate change, but it applies to just climate, period. Okay. And I love this definition, right? Climate resilience is our capacity. Now, I say humans in nature, because humans are nature. I don't know why we feel like we're different or apart or separate from nature. That's fucking ridiculous. But anyway, this is what the definition damn said. But humans in nature, capacity for us to absorb stress and maintain function in the face of external stresses imposed upon it by climate change, adapt, reorganize, and evolve into more desirable configurations. That's what all of nature does, right? Not just humans, you know. So you improve, you evolve, you know, to be able to continue to survive in this dynamic environment, meaning it's always changing, okay? And just like on what the hell was that movie with Tom Cruise and them damn aliens? What the hell was that? Y'all know what I'm talking about. War of the Worlds, right? What the hell killed them aliens? Germs. Somebody sneezed on their ass and just the Rona got them. Okay? That was all it was. Why? Because they had not done the work. They were not here to do all the evolving that we've done to be able to, you know, be in this climate or be in this world, right? Yes. So that's resilience, okay? So given that stuff, I have redefined, well, not really, but really, security, okay? So from what I see, security is the feeling and state of being free from harm. Now, y'all know this is William Wallace, okay? What was he looking for? Freedom. Freedom ain't nothing to play with now, okay? Because it'll get you a William Wallace if you try to, you know, to stifle it, okay? Now, the function of security is to empower. Now, think about this. Think about you being in your home. Let me give an example. Let's say there's a zombie apocalypse. I love zombie movies, by the way. I just don't like Walking Dead, though. I couldn't get into that. I don't know why. I could not get into Walking Dead, even though I really like zombie movies. World War Z, I love that. And all the Korean zombie movies. Have y'all seen that? One of them was called, oh Lord, what the hell was that? Rapture or something? I don't know. Both of them, they're both on Netflix, and you have to have subtitles. Them shits was so good. The Train of Busan, that was one of them. And the other one, it was like a series where the girl, she was pretending like she was pregnant. I don't know. I have to find that out. But I love zombie movies. Okay, why the hell did I start talking about that? Anyway, the function of security is to empower and inspire. Oh, that's why. If you are in your home and you feel insecure, you feel like something is going to harm you, whether it's in the house or outside the house, what do you do? Where is your attention? Like, what are you doing? What are you able to do when you're just scared and you feel like some harm is about to come to you? You know, your attention is on, you know, trying to prevent that from happening, right? Your attention is on protecting yourself and your family and getting ready to fight, you know, in case this harm, these zombies or the lion or whatever the hell, you know, or the person in your house, you know, tries to harm you. That's where your attention is. You're always stressed. It's always fight or flight until you feel like you're secure. But nothing matters. You probably can't eat, you can't sleep, you ain't trying to talk to nobody. Nothing matters until you feel free from harm. Then you feel like you can do something, right? Yes. And it doesn't have to just be physical. What if you had right now $2 million in your bank account, just dropped in there? Bam, $2 million. That's a feeling of security. Doesn't that give you a feeling of security? So now you're empowered to do some shit. Okay? All right? You know, even if, so that's why I put the feeling and the state. Okay? Because it's not just you got bars on your windows. You can have bars on your windows, okay? Security guards all over the place and still feel insecure. All right? It's not just about the physical, right? It's also about whether you feel it or not, okay? Okay, so that's how I've redefined security. And I had to do that because we're talking about vulnerability as a security control. So I have to look at all three of those. Now, some of you have seen these definitions already because I shared them the other day. But so this is the NIST definition from the November 2019 document, Developing Cyber Resilient Systems, a systems security engineering approach, okay? Cyber resilience engineering, according to NIST, is this, okay? It aims to design, architect, and develop systems with the ability to anticipate, withstand, does that sound familiar? Recover from and adapt to adverse conditions, stresses, attacks, or compromises that use or are enabled by cyber resources, okay? Now, this is different. This is not what we're typically hear. How many times have you heard of your system being able to accept attacks or withstand? The same thing, okay? Now, man, we don't talk about that. It's all, you know, fight and defend, right? But just like the weather, okay? That bridge you go over, you drive over to go to the grocery store, to your mom's house, to visit your sister, you know, to see your baby daddy, your baby mama, whatever the case. Okay. That bridge got to withstand some shit. Okay, it's especially depending on where you live. You know, if you live in California, okay, you're gonna have to withstand them earthquakes and all. And some of them, you know, if the earthquake is bad enough, you know, won't be able to. But they're engineered in such a way that if those kinds of things occur, they can accept it. They can accept the event, okay, and keep on pushing, right? 15 years with NIST. Okay. Is that what you mean? You worked there for 15 years? Is that what you mean? I done NIST? Or are you saying you did this process? Have you done anything with this, Professor Black Ops, with the resiliency? Because this is a whole framework. I realize it just came out last year, but have you actually done anything with this? That would be interesting to know. Okay, so NIST has their definition as well, and it's different. It's not what we're used to seeing, okay? Now, this is the new frame based on the NIST stuff and some stuff I don't have in here because I don't want to keep y'all here all night. These are the new words, the new ways of seeing the work that we do, okay? Now, in no way, shape, or form does it mean we stop protecting. I think protect is in here somewhere, isn't it? See, even attack is in here, right? But where's the focus though? You don't see war there. You don't see a focus. Cyber war is not the biggest thing in here, okay? Because maybe we're not being attacked. Is it possible that what's happening is just the current conditions, you know, of a digital world and businesses and opportunity and money and all this other, those conditions are coming together so that we have events where individuals who don't belong there are attempting to infiltrate, you know, can we engineer to be able to withstand those kind of events? So here's the comparison. The first frame, the biggest thing is cyber warfare, okay? And you see warfare, firewall, hacker, you know, virus, all that stuff. Doesn't mean that stuff goes away on the left side, or that the stuff on the left isn't in the right, you know. But what are we giving attention to? What are we training towards? What are we, you know, talking about at the conferences and you know, and all that? On the right, we're talking about the future. We're talking about capabilities, being able to adapt, accepting or withstanding attacks, being resilient. We're talking about the environment. We're talking about natural things, reorganizing, being prepared. You know, like that's where the attention is going now. Okay. And that's a different digital world. That's a different cyber profession than it is right now. Government sites have to do NIST 853. Is that what that was? I don't even remember what that is. That the resilience thing? I don't even remember what that number was. So this is you know, just an idea, you know, to reframe this based on stuff that's already out there. So I was telling Dr. Phillips and I were actually talking today about some of this, and oh, I'll tell you after I go through this right here. So vulnerability as a security control. Did I skip the definition of vulnerability? I don't think so. So now I put this up here, right? Because what we know as water is 2 hydrogen and 1 oxygen, is H2O. Okay, 2 hydrogen molecules, 1 oxygen molecule. Is that right? H2O. Now, depending on the conditions, it can either be H2O as ice, as water, or as water vapor. And there's actually another thing, but we're just gonna stick with this right here, okay? Based on the conditions that are around it, depends on how it's going to form, okay? Now, this is an example of a vulnerability, okay? H2O is vulnerable to the conditions around it. It's vulnerable, okay? Meaning it can change when the conditions require it to change, okay? When the conditions are such that, you know, it can change, it does that. This architecture are resilient if you design them properly. We assume a hacker will be on the network. Okay. Okay. And that's what we need to get into. How do you design a resilient? What is a resilient architecture? How is it different than some of the ones, or many of the ones we see today that are not designed to be resilient, right? I would like to see that actually. So vulnerability is very simple. It's every person's ability to decide. That's your vulnerability. All right. And a vulnerability is not a weakness in this case. Your ability to decide is not a weakness. It's a capability. Okay. Your ability to gather information and make a decision is actually a capability. All right. And according to the book, The Fundamentals of Enterprise Risk Management, the chapter on leadership, these are the components of every decision, okay? Every decision you make is based on all of these things. It's just how much they're weighed in your decision. Fact, opinion, belief, assumption, and feeling, okay? How you feel about something. Now, for a lot of us, DDoS is a common event. Can your network handle a petabyte attack? I don't know what a petabyte attack is. Oh, can your network handle a petabyte attack? Is that what you're asking? Okay, your ability to decide, right? That's all of our vulnerabilities, you know. So I was gonna say something, but okay, let me just go on. Yeah. So that's how I'm defining that. And a control is just like this maze, okay? A control is any constraints placed within or outside a defined system to guide, impose, or influence a certain behavior. So choice theory, a part of choice theory is called total behavior, right? And in total behavior says there are 4 components to what you see. So me waving my hands like this and talking and moving around. That's action. The part you don't see is the feeling, thinking, and the physiology. That's what choice theory says. So there's other shit happening, okay, while I'm waving my hands and talking and all that, which is what you see. But that other stuff is happening too. I'm feeling a certain way. I'm thinking a certain thing, and my body, my physiology is a certain way. Okay. Think about when you go to speak on stage. What's going on in your physiology. Some of us get butterflies in our stomach. That's what we call it, butterflies in our stomach, or we feel really nervous, or we get, our palms start sweating, or so that's your physiology. Well, what might you be thinking at that moment? Oh my goodness, I hope I remember my lines. I hope I don't mess up. I hope the PowerPoint slide works. So, whatever. What are you feeling? You might be feeling some anxiety. You may be nervous. You may be excited. You may be terrified. And what are you doing? You could be, I don't know, rocking back and forth, maybe looking at your watch, fidgeting, or you may be calm, you may not just be standing there calmly, just waiting to go on stage. So you see, all of those things are happening all the time. All right, is what I'm trying to say here. And a control, now the control can come from anybody. Okay, the control can come from your wife, or your girlfriend, or your partner, or your significant other. It can come from any authority figure, and it don't have to be physical. I don't have to put a lock on this door. I actually saw, what was this show I was looking at? It was a show, this lady, she was in the house, right? And her husband would go to work all day, tell her not to leave the house. The door right there. She can very easily just turn the knob and get the hell out. But the control he put in place was mental, right? It was a mental control. Remember I told y'all in the beginning how your mind can be colonized, okay? Same thing here. People don't got to put chains on you, to make you a slave, right? If they got this right here, you done. She didn't touch that door. All day long, this guy was gone. She looked at it, she thought about it, but she didn't touch it, okay? So a control can be, and that's a control, that it fits this definition. What he said to her, what he showed her, what he kept telling her, influenced a certain behavior. Don't you take yourself out this house. I don't care. I don't care what's going on, okay? And she didn't. She stayed right there. So now what's a security control? I'm trying to bring all this together now. I told you still baking, all right? According to NIST, it's the safeguards or countermeasures prescribed for an information system or an organization to protect the confidentiality, integrity, and availability of the system and its information. My issue is the system and information. Is that it? Like, is that all? So I've revised it a bit, a lot, a whole bunch. As the tangible, traceable, and monitorable constraints placed within and outside a defined system or systems to guide, impose, or influence the feeling and state of security. A security control is something put in place to guide, impose, or influence the feeling and state of security. I mean, is that not what it is, or what? That's what I see, which is aligned to vulnerability as a security control or decision making. Now, I have to tell you, there's a lot more that goes with this. For example, I was contemplating on whether or not to put in here information about cyber physical systems, or what the hell is it called? Digital twins, right? Digital twins. I mean, there's just a whole bunch of stuff, okay? But I just wanted to get to the, get to the highlights for y'all. I mean, I'll put that in another thing that'll be more comprehensive, but not right now. So what's the problem? In the beginning, we said that, instead of trying to solve the problem of, nobody gives a damn about security, or it's not as important as it should be. Like, why do I have to tell you to consider security, in the beginning, and, incentivize you to do all of that. And, like, if it's that important to you, nobody has to tell me to charge my phone. Okay. Nobody got to tell me to do that. Nobody has to remind me. Why? Because this is useful. I use this for stuff. Okay. That's why I charge it. I take care of it. I give it I do everything I need to do with this thing so that because I use it. It's important. Okay. Now, if you got to remind people about security, then what is that telling you? The way that it's used and framed and talked about, they're like, what that got to do with me? Like, that's not, there are more important things, okay, than the way we're defining it today, right? Now, if you ask somebody, what's more important than you being free to make your own decisions? Is there anything more important than that? What's more important than you being empowered to decide, where you have the volition to do so? I don't know too many people who would be like, that's not that important. I just don't know. So that, you see what I'm saying? So if we frame it a different way, if we show, and it's not like you're lying to them about a certain thing. It's how we're framing it. Man, that's very important, right? My ability to make decisions is very important, all right? And I don't want somebody doing that for me by putting some kind of control in place so that they can make these decisions for me, okay? I want to open that door when I want to open that damn door, okay? That's my decision to make. You're not going to control me in that way. And this is why the thing about users, to frame security in a way where users are empowered to make decisions. You know what I'm saying? Which would change the training. It would change so many things to reframe this in a different way. I'm just saying it would. It's not that users are the weakest link or nobody gives a shit about security. The problem, we don't have enough information, right? Just like with the mystery. So we're not solving puzzles anymore, okay? With vulnerability as a security control, this is not about puzzle solving, okay? This is about getting enough information to be able to ensure the feeling and state of security of the person and the organization, which includes the system and the data and all that stuff, okay? We need enough information to be able to do that. Now, in the video, what is his name again? The quote I had up here, I forgot his name, but he was talking about how he was with a group of developers. Actually, I think it was a conference that he was in, right? He was in a group of developers, and hold on, a group of developers, right? And he gave them, I don't know if I told y'all this last time, but he gave them a code. He put a code on the screen, and he said, what's wrong with this? And they gave him different answers, which were right, but what they did not see was that it was missing authentication, okay? And he said that, and then he, went through a process of threat modeling and all that stuff. I think I may have told y'all that. But they didn't know that without, so they have a tool apparently to look for stuff like that. But he said that that tool is not, the authentication issue was of a higher order, and the tool was not going to be able to pick that up. Okay. Now, If the issue is we don't have enough information to help ensure that you and me, you know, even if I'm the developer, I'm included in it too, right? Am feel and in a state of security, right? Then what information do we need? What other information do we need, and how do we get that information? Okay, because now it's not just about I'm a cyber professional doing this work outside of the organization. Okay, I'm part of the organization. Okay, this is my stuff too. I want to be secure, you know, and empowered to decide as well. Okay, would you say I have threat model before in a project? Can you teach something like that? Like, could you show me how to do that? Professor Black Ops, do you know it? Do you know it that well to be able to do that? Just asking. Because if you could do that, you know, over here or on your channel's up now, right? I can come over there, you know, however you want to do it, and we can do some threat modeling together. I would love to do that. So I have other stuff, but I only wanted to give you all a high level, okay? Because I can go into a much more detail, but for the most part, what I'm saying here is vulnerability as a security control. You see that I have redefined all those, okay? Vulnerability, security, and control, all right? But the gist of it is, for the first problem, security, you know, doesn't seem to be valued, you know, the way we value our cell phones, you know, and we take care, we know where it is at all times. If we don't have it with us, we know something missing, okay? If we want it to be valued like that, then what if we reframed what it is? You know, look more into what the retired general was saying about cyberspace not being a warfighting domain. If it's not a warfighting domain, then what the hell is it? Okay, it's a domain, you know, where we now occupy, where there are, like storms, conditions that create events, adversarial events, you know, sometimes that we now need to be able to withstand, detect, protect ourselves, you know, against, you know, and all that, right? So it's a place where engineering and proper design is much more valued, okay, than guns and swords and fighting and, you know, and all that, okay? It's now not that fighting doesn't happen over here, but the attention and the predominant value is on building the right structure, okay, that's resilient and able to adapt, right, to the conditions that are in the digital world. One of the conditions in the digital world is ninjas trying to get into shit that don't belong to them, just like in the physical world. Okay? Just like in the physical world, right? So that's the first issue. Now, the second issue about users are the weakest link, okay? Well, I can tell you from experience, if I'm the weakest link, it's I'm not gonna say because of, but a large contribution to that is the organization's attitude about security. All you care about is being compliant, and all I care about is not getting my computer shut down. Okay, so once a year, we both gonna care enough for you to put out the training and for me to hurry up and run through that shit so I can get back to work. Okay, listen. I'm just saying, okay? Now, this is coming from somebody who has been hacked, okay? Had real money coming out of my bank account, all right? I already told y'all about that, okay? Now, my bank and my Capital One, I love Capital One and Navy Federal. They're wonderful. They need to be sponsors on here. Okay, those two entities are like, I've had nothing but amazing experiences with them. Like I really have. So, you know, because they let me know what's going on. They're like, listen, did you just buy this or what? You know, they do that kind of stuff. They really care for you, right? So, you know, but they're doing their part. So I have responsibility too, to care for myself. So I do the things that I need to do, right? To be able, you know, to ensure that my stuff, you know, is secure. But the conditions of the digital world don't guarantee shit. They don't guarantee that, you know, you're an impenetrable fortress and nobody's going to get in there to get, you know, stuff that don't belong to them. It doesn't. So what does that mean? That means I have to be resilient. I have to be able to, you know, deter it. And that was another thing, right? That was on that other website I showed y'all. What was it called? What was it called? It was called Security Humanity or something. I don't know, something like that, child. But they were saying the consequences. And that's, so I asked my bank while all this stuff happened. I said, can you tell me the process of how this person is going to be caught and prosecuted for stealing $2,000? You know, I got it back from the bank, but still, somebody got money that don't belong to them, you know, in an illegal way, right? So they weren't able to tell me anything, and I'm not confident that anything at all happened to this person, other than them being able to do it to somebody else. So that was one of the things that that website was talking about. The risk for people who hack into stuff is almost non-existent, unless they're an APT or something, you know. But for the everyday ninja going around who ain't got nothing, shit else to do, you know, but get into systems that they shouldn't be in, what's the risk? What, seriously, what is the risk? It can't be too high. Who looking for them? Who's looking for them? Who looking for whoever took that? You know what I'm saying? I mean, you got people on Vice. This person on TV with stolen credit cards, just doing his work. The face is blotted out, but you know, ain't shit gonna happen to him. That's a problem. That's a problem. Now, in the physical world, okay, if I come up behind you and crack you upside your head, you know, and you call the cops, there's some consequences for that. Why? Because an assault against you is actually an assault against the state you live in, okay? So an assault against me in the digital world is an assault against who? Me. Don't nobody know Cheryl? Okay. We haven't gotten to that part yet. They are never caught. I didn't think so. I've only seen one incident where people were on TV, but this was for something enormous. Like they had hacked some Pentagon shit or so. I mean, it was a huge thing, right? And then it took like 5 years, you know, to gather them together. Okay, but that's an issue. That is so. So one of the conditions that is allowing all of what we call cyber attacks to happen is that they can, you know. And if the conditions are there, listen. If the conditions outside are such that, you know, it's gonna rain, guess what's gonna happen? It's gonna rain. My grandma saying that in church. It's gonna rain. It's gonna rain on your head. That's what's gonna happen, okay? Because the conditions. Ciao. I'm telling you, if the conditions are there, the event is going to occur, honey. It's gonna occur. Did you answer me about the threat model? What did you say? I have threat. I read that one. I can show how I did it. That's not answering my question, Professor Blackout. I said, can you show me how to do it? If you have the time and the inclination to show me how to do it. We can do it right now if you want to. I got a whiteboard right behind me. Do y'all got somebody want to come up here and debate? What y'all think about what I said? Did I have anything else in here? Let me see. I have more slides in here, but I don't want to bore y'all to death. But do you get what I'm saying though? Is that clear, or do you have, is something fuzzy? See, because one of the, and let me tell you where I got the thing about the how vulnerability is not a weakness, okay, but a capability. So I did a very short paper, but the research took months, like two and a half months, okay. So I was trying to find Black, indigenous and people of color who had contributed to various professions, you know, because when it comes to the models and stuff that we use, you know, there's a clear lack of melanin, okay, in the people who have supposedly created all of these, you know, processes and systems that the world uses today. You know, I like that shit definitely ain't true, okay? There's no way in the world me with my mind and whoever my ancestors is didn't come up with some shit that's being used today, okay? No way. I ain't going. I am not going, okay? So I did my own research, all right, to find, and that's actually where I found the gentleman who created the software, you know, for the fastest supercomputer, was doing that research. Anyway, what was I saying that for? So I did that research, right, to find out those of us who had contributed, you know, for very, and women too. I didn't put women in there, but y'all men like to take credit for everything. Okay, we debate that too. But women have been and will be there, okay? We'll probably have a better government if we were there anyway. Anyway, what was I saying that for? Is El Style back? El Style, are you back? I know you said you had to go. Oh, here you go, Professor. Let me get it for you. Where did that damn link at? Here we go. So I can do it on the whiteboard back here, right? Here we go. Hi, can you hear me?
Okay, let me pause.
Uh-oh.
So it won't echo.
You're a little low.
I could just talk louder. I'm kind of dragging a little bit. Am I still low?
You're still low. Yeah.
Let's see what's up. See if I can cut up my speakers. Still low?
Yeah.
Let me see what's going on. Oh, let me bump up my.
Whatever that rattling is loud. Get on the same speaker as that rattling.
Now that's me on my. I'm on my AirPods and I'm pumping up the volume.
Okay, that's getting better.
Right, let me see if I can pump. Is it getting louder?
Yeah. It's better.
53 points to your. So when you do a basic network architecture, you build in resilience. Then in that part is COOP and disaster recovery.
Coop,
So
okay. I remember Coop.
So yeah, COOP is actually the disaster recovery for your people. Since I used to work at DoD. We always just say if our building gets hit by a plane, where are these 600 people going to work? That's before COVID. We moved them to another building, not home, right? So now everybody's working from home. So that would be your COOP. So if that building gets hit and your computer's in there, do you roll over to another data center? Right, as part of resilience, right? So that's kind of part of that resilience.
How do you, because I've been, how do you accept attack? How do you do that? Like what?
For us, what we do is like I put in the chat is when you do the 3-tier architecture, right?
Yeah.
So we assume like, okay, if an attacker gets in the web server, you have a hacker in the web server, right?
Mm-hmm.
We call it the onion. You have layers. Even if the hacker's on our web server, if all my data is encrypted and he doesn't have the keys, or he steals my flat file money files and they're encrypted, if he doesn't have the keys, he can't read them because he can't unencrypt those files, right?
Okay.
That's part of resilience, right?
Yep.
So we say that, okay, now if he gets the keys and the thing, right, he's in a web server. Our actual database is 2 tiers down, right? It's web server, app server, database. So he still has to get to the database really to steal that information.
Yeah.
Right. So that's what we call resilience. We got those layers. We got encryption. We got encryption in multiple layers. Right. So we actually encrypt the data file and we actually save it in the database. So you got to get to the database, figure out how to hack the database, then figure out how to get the file out the database and have the key to unencrypt the file you got out the database.
Right.
Right. So that's kind of multi-layer of resilience. But like you said, as a nature storm, there's new attacks come out every year. So we have to look at our model and says, okay, can we handle this type of attack? Right. What is the newest thing out there? Right.
How easy is it for you to like to shift or to pivot and do something that's more adaptive for whatever the new thing is?
It just depends on what the new thing is. Some things we like, that's already included, that's something small. And one time it was like, ooh, we're going to really need to design that, and we don't have no money to do that. So it really depends. And two is the government stays on top of, like we talked about, those STIGs and those CIs, they come out and says, you need to be able to do this because they found a different attack overseas and from a nation state. So sometimes we're like, okay, we're going to need to redo our architecture, or we got to handle a different encryption. And sometimes that could be $100,000 thing we need to do.
So how do you share what happens? Because one of the articles I read was like,
we do. If you go to MITRE, if you're in the government, there's MITRE, and there's 3 websites that if you get hacked, they actually force you to actually put your hack in those databases. Because like you said, they want that at the government level, they want you to share it. We always talk about it. Sometimes we're like, do we really want to air our dirty laundry? Because sometimes you're going to look bad. So do you really want to share? Because there's reputational risk in that. So, or sometimes we share, but we might want to say it a little different than actually. So, but no, there's a government site, and I can look that up. If you Google it, there's a site where everybody put their, you're supposed to put if you get hacked. You're supposed to put in there like our oversight agency.
Government site? I know there's another thing too.
Yeah, MITRE had one. There's like 3 out there. I can look in my email because my boss is always trying to report. And 2 is sometimes your government agency, like I report to a specific government agency, they want to know within 24 hours if something looks funny.
Oh, not even if it happened, just if it
looks funny. Because long story short is, I don't want to say too much. Is
sure
we fund our agency funds states, so they believe if 3 of those agencies getting hacked at the same time, that could be a nation state stopping the government from getting funding. So that's why they want to know that. So if 3 states said, "Hey, we got something funny," they tell everybody in the state, "We're going on lockdown. That's what you need to do. Everybody, get your cybersecurity hat on." Sometimes they just tell you shut down your database until we figure out what's going on in the nation. We're not sure. We don't know if it's a nation attack. Just shut down your database.
Wow, that's okay.
So it depends on your government agency. Like who we report to, they're like, yeah, not if you've been hacked. If something looks funny in 24 hours, then every 24 hours you need to let us know what's going on. And if 3 states, 3 of those agencies from different states come, then they're gonna send out a nationwide alert. So
okay. So threat modeling. What did you use that for? And is that something that I could like learn in 5 minutes?
Maybe. It depends on what level you did. And I really did it from a programming level. You were on OWASP site. They always do the top 20. So the threat model was to lay out those 20 and go through our code and make sure each one of those is a threat, right? Cross-site scripting, right? So our government agency says we got to have a threat model. And so what we did is we put numbers to that because it ranks how often it happens and which one is more dangerous. So that way, I like to come up with a number. So we said, okay, these are the numbers of it, right, for this type of attack. This type of web server, right, is prone to that attack, right, because it's outward facing, right, right, because we got some stuff that's internal. You can't even get to it from the internet, right. So the hacker would have to get internal. But if it's outward facing, I always times it by 2, right, because that's double the attack, because that means anybody from outside can scan it and try to attack you, right. So anything I got outside, I times it by 2, right, because I think it's easy. So I try to put a numerical value to it. So that's kind of I did this threat modeling. So then I put a number by each one of those attacks. If it was a web server, app server, what data do you have in the database? Put a value on that, right? Is it a social security number? Is it your tax return? Is it your HIPAA? Right? So we put a number on that. Then you add it up to come up with what is the risk of this system, right? These many vulnerabilities, this is your threat model. It's outward facing, right? And it comes up with a number of what's the importance of it, right? Then we go through each one of those vulnerabilities or attacking OWASP, right? Because it's a web server. And that's the threat model you can come up with.
Is that a part of the risk management framework?
No. I don't think it is.
Should be.
Well, what you got to think is when they think of risk from that level, they think of it from an enterprise system, and they don't know what type of system you have. You could really be out paper, theoretically, not saying you will, but you could be a paper organization, right? Or you could be the museum. If you're a museum, you're not credit card, a little PCI, but you're not gonna have most. But if you're a hospital, right, you got people diagnosed with HIV, you got their Social Security payment because it's paying Medicare and Medicaid. Medicare is paying for that stuff. Right? So you're gonna have a lot more data, right? So I think at that level you're talking about, they just talk about risk as that for your company. I'm delving a little deeper. I do that, but then I'm delving, okay, now what's the risk of this application that's in our organization, right? So that's what I'm saying. What level are you trying to do it? I've done them in all levels, but so those are the different levels. And so, like we said, what is this server? What's the risk of this server, right? Is that got your HIPAA data on it, your tax, right? So that risk of that server is going to be higher because that's where your good stuff's at, right? So then the thing you got to go through is, okay, now this is the good stuff. What systems touch the good stuff, right? Because anything touching it could cause that server to get hacked, right? So then you kind of work your way out, right? And 2 is that's what we do for incident response, right? The good stuff we need to replicate to our DR site, right? Anything touch it needs to be replicated to DR site because really that's probably how we make it money. All right. So when you do your DR site, we call them MEF, mission essential functions. Which one of these functions do we actually want to DR for our building?
MEF. Okay.
Yeah. I do a lot of. I used to freelance and do a lot of disaster recovery. So mission essential functions. So like your company could say we do these 60 things, but if our building's gonna get hit and we're gonna run out of reduced capacity, we always say what's the top 10 things we need to do as a business. So what is our mission essential functions, right? We can do 50 other things, but they're not really critical to our mission. Right. So that's part of that too. So these are our mission essential functions. So these are going to go to our DR site. That's part of the resilience too, is right. So if we need to run at a reduced rate or a limping capacity, what do we need to do? We need to pay people. This is our core business for our constituents of the state. Right, so we go through and you map those out with your manager. Because it's a funny story. When this big meeting, these big executives in there, this guy said, I'm important. Our boss looked at him and goes, no, you're not mission essential. He looked so sad. I'm like, dude, the big boss said you're not critical. Wasn't me. Look at the big boss. Because people have this inflated thing. Like, oh, you're critical, right? So the thing is, are we going to run security? Are we going to run auditing? So we were debating. So we probably won't audit in this. If we're in the mission, we're not auditing, right? We're just doing business. If some get taken, we're gonna audit it back when we spin up to our natural. So auditing's out, right? So you go through there. Part of your resiliency and part of your risk too is knowing what's important to your organization.
Mission essential, so I've actually have you heard of Infonomics?
I have.
Do you use like an aspect of that as far as mapping the I don't
Probably
know.
not. That's too. Yes and no. That's too advanced. We just went down from top to
Okay.
bottom and said, "Okay, bosses, y'all in the room, rank them."
Okay.
Then we had legal in there. We said, "Legal, what legally do we have to run?" Because sometimes, like I report a certain agency, we have to run 4 things by state statute. So legal's like, "Well, we got to run these because if not, we're gonna have to pay these people interest if we don't get this money to these people. So this statute, we got to do this." Right.
Uh-huh.
So that's going to help you figure out what's your mission essential. Okay, now, okay, we need to do this. Okay, by law, we got to do that. Right. So they in a room and you just hashing it out. I'm facilitating it a little bit, but I'm like, that's a management decision.
Yeah.
Once y'all figure it out, I can make sure it gets rolled on the DR site. We can say, okay, this job function, I need to bring up these 3 systems for this job function. Because they don't talk about systems, they talking job functions.
Job functions.
Right.
Yep.
Right. I need to pay this constituent. I need to run this type of business. Right. If you're a bank, I need to take people's money. Right. So what systems do that? Right. I need to refund people money. What systems do that?
Okay.
Right. So we talk about what job functions, and you figure out what systems relate to those job functions.
Okay. That's good. Yeah. All right.
But no, I think you got, like I said, I think a lot of times resilience, if you design your architecture right, that's built in, especially you do NIST, because NIST asks you to do certain things like DR Coop. It tells you threat modeling's in there, but I think it's like in high advanced. A lot of people don't do that though. That's advanced, but they do tell you to go to OWASP and go through the top 10 in your application to make sure you're not open to any of those type of attacks, cross-site scripting, SQL injection, command injection. So they tell you in there to go through those type of attacks to make sure your system's not open to that.
So the guy who did the presentation, he actually said that threat modeling was the fastest and the cheapest way to find, where you find some of those vulnerabilities, because he was like, pen testing is going to cost you. You're going to come out the pocket for that.
That's incorrect.
That's not right?
Now, for me,
he saw $1,000 or something like that.
It depends on it. You can go, you can get free software out the net and do a pen test. It's free software. You can get open source software to do a pen test. Now, it's not going to be the best. It's not going to be, but you can go out through and easily scan for that.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we get pen tested every 3 years. I think our oversight agency says we have to get an official pen test, but we run them internally all the time.
Oh, do you? Okay. Yeah. So you have your own, red team or something?
No, that's what we just suspect our compliance team does that. Like those CIS checks you load those up. They cut in Nexus scanner. That's expensive. You scan your systems and it tells you what vulnerabilities you have. And that's part of what we got to fix, because that oversight agency is going to come out every 3 years and do that. Mm-hmm. Say, hey, we scan your systems. These are your vulnerabilities. And they're going to go to your boss and tell you if you're good or if you suck or not. And they come out. I mean, I think we had 2,000 vulnerabilities one time.
Oh, Lord.
That's not a lot, actually. As big as
it's not?
No, they said we were one of the best organizations they went into.
Okay.
We got 400 VMs.
What is that?
Virtual machine.
Oh, so VM. Okay.
Yeah, VM, I'm sorry. Yeah,
VM. Speaking of VM, let me ask you this one thing. I don't want to keep you up here all night, but
I'm going to be up. I'm waiting for the basketball game to come on.
For who?
The basketball game, Gary. Come on. Basketball.
Oh, the basketball. Who playing?
The Lakers and the Heat. They come
Are
on
the people in the stadium?
No. Just a couple families and the coaches now. They got virtual people. So they got like TVs with people's faces on them.
Yeah, I saw that on a show. I'm like,
so it's kind of weird. And they're in a bubble. They can't even come out.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Trying to get some of that TV money.
Yeah, Ron Jenkins. What was I going to say? See, I need to stay on topic. Because if I get off topic, it's
I like when you go off topic, because you be all over the place.
Yeah, I do, don't I?
You be like the sky, the moon, we got to be in sync. The tornado. I'm like, the tornado? All right, let me listen to this. I'm kind of one of them dudes. I ain't got much feeling. I'm like, okay, I'm touching a part of myself. I mean, like the moon and the bees. The bees. I
Yeah,
already know the
I
bees in
need
there
to cut
today.
that out. I
The
do.
bees, okay. I'm gonna sit back and listen. I'm gonna learn something today. Because I'm just kind of road. I've been doing it so long. I just can spit it out. Now, let me think about the
Yeah.
bees in the ocean and the
All
wind
right.
today. I'm gonna think about this a little different. Because I'll be like servers, digs, CIS checks,
Right.
repair, hey, database, encryption, FIPS 140-2, government encryption. I can spit this out in my sleep. I'm like, Mama, think about the bees. I'm gonna switch it up today.
Exactly.
Bees.
Oh, so this is what I wanted to ask you. So now I've been looking up, and it just came up again today in a conversation that I had about work about what the hell, digital twins. Tell me about digital twins. You know about that,
I
right?
never heard of that. What is it?
Oh
I
my
might
God.
have to explain about it, but I just never heard
So,
that term.
so I'm gonna try to explain it as best I can. But so it's like if so for the physical world, it's like if you had a twin,
Mm-hmm.
okay, and the twin is exactly like you. I mean, the same cholesterol levels, I mean, everything, okay?
Mm-hmm.
And before you make a decision, you'll have the twin do it to see how they react.
Yeah, we do that.
And
That's
if you
that's
like the reaction, then you'll do it on you'll do it.
yeah. For us, I mean, maybe I'm making it simple. Is when you do development, the developers have a whole environment that matches production on their laptop. Then you put it in the development environment on our network, and there's something called UAT. We call it a model office, where we actually make a copy of production in there, and that's the twin. Of course, you run all your tests on there, performance tests if we tweak anything. And if it passes, we promote it to production. So that's the level of, you call it twins, we just call it the system development lifecycle, where you test stuff and it should map to production, and that's the twin. That,
Yeah. So
that's kind of how I'm business. So yeah, so we don't do anything until we test it and make sure performance, if anything breaks, if we changing our how we moving our network traffic. So we get it close. We get it close. Sometimes it's just too expensive to actually map it exactly like production.
mhm.
So
Yeah, I mean, there's a whole thing about it, and I know it's a bit more complicated than I'm explaining it, but to me, it sounded like kind of like a virtual machine, except there's a digital thread that they call it that actually links the real to the twin, so
yeah,
that all the data stays the same all the time,
ooh,
and
yeah, we that's a big discussion for us. The reason
yeah,
why is you got production data. Now, if you make a copy of that, now you have people's PII, FTI, HIPAA, all that violation in your development environment, which is a no-no, right? Because now you have developers that really don't need to know that information. You should really have test data. But we always debate about that. Should you
so
have
do you,
should you have production data and tests? They say yes, but security's like, nah, man, you should not be seeing people SSN, create a fake SSN. Be a big boy, but that's hard. You need to create fake data with all the links. So it's
mhm.
hard. I got to create the person, and I got to put their kids on there, and I got to put their kids' social security number and their if they get Medicaid, making out of data is hard. People complain. I'm like, yeah, but now I got rogue developers that could just take their data, right? Why are my developers seeing people's real data? So that's the discussion. But people go like, well, how are we running real tests if we don't have real data? Like, fake data. You a big boy. So we argue about that.
Do you?
Yeah, because for me, it's a security violation, right?
Yeah.
Now, once again, you're my insider threat. If you're a rogue developer, you can just take this picture with your phone. You can screen dump it. Why do you have access to that information?
Mm-hmm.
Right? Then they're like, well, hell, they got background checks like everybody else. You can't trust your developer. Who can you trust? I'm like, I'm security. I trust no one. That's your decision, big boss.
Uh-huh.
So that's how I tell them, you got to accept that risk, right? Now we're talking about risk, right? So if you're cool with the developers in there, I'm cool with them. But for me, that's a security risk. Now you can tell me if you want to accept it.
Right.
I see you thinking on that, like,
Well, yeah, I mean,
It's like,
yeah, I don't know all the
We've been
details.
arguing that for 10 years. DOD,
Yeah.
they made test data, and they were excellent at it. Any other organization I went to, they're lazy. They just want to copy production in the test. So I'm like, I'm cool with them. That's a security risk for us / you, Big Boss, because I'm putting it in email. So if they ask me, I'll be like, I sent Big Boss the email and he accepted it. So I'm letting you know, Big Boss, I'm blaming you. So there's no confusion. So you just need to figure out if you want to accept that risk. But most of them do, because 95% of the companies are lazy and they suck. And it's just easier to do it that way. I just tell them I'm old. It's your risk to
You just tell them you old.
Yeah, I'm old, man. We don't. And I started making, sly comics. If you don't want to do it right, boss, it's your call, boss. If you don't want to do it right, man, cool. We just got production data. Then you have a spillage. Your developer's like, oh, I accidentally did something. Like you said, it's not a hack. That's a spillage because it was somebody internal that did it, right? It was an accident, but it's spillage, and we have to report it.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So now we don't have a hack, like you said. Now that's an event.
Yeah.
Right? So that's when you talk about, okay, now how do you do resiliency, right? How do you handle that?
Yeah.
Right. But the big part of that is you understand your risk and you know what you accept. And so now you know what happens. You're not surprised by it. If we got developers and stuff, we're going to have some spillage. So just figure out what is our process and procedure to help block it. DLP, data loss prevention, it'll stop people from emailing it out or putting it on a USB drive, right? Those are some of the mitigating controls. So what are you doing to help you accept that risk?
Yep. Okay. Well, I definitely want to do more research on it because it sounds very fascinating. But they do like everything. You can get enormous.
Yeah, and like I said, I try to
really
keep that part simple. Like I said, for us, that's kind of super advanced. Most people don't get to that level. Most people, like we talked about, they're just doing some features, put the security up, running a pen test, doing some testing, and they're just trying to get their product out because they're trying to make money. Facebook came out, it was done in the dorm room. He didn't have security in mind when he first did Facebook because he didn't think it was going to be that big. He didn't think half the planet was going to use it.
Right. Listen, so we do this class for teams, right, for cybersecurity, this nonprofit. Child, I told them I made a Facebook group. He said Facebook for old people. We don't
know. No, it is. I could have told you that. Yeah, Facebook old people.
But I'm on Facebook though.
I am too, but I'm old. But see, you gotta remember is they do everything opposite. So that's why I tease them. I'm like, young kids are wearing short shorts again because they see us wearing long shorts. We hoop. They wearing mid-calf thigh shorts. I'm like, dude, you naked, man. I'm wearing shorts you got. But they think they're sexy. I'm like, dude, you a dude. Why your shorts so little, man? But that's the new thing now. My grandson got these little shorts. Like, where you wearing them little shorts at, boy? He go, oh, these are hip. Grandpa, I'm like, your shorts are old, man. They like coming down to over your knee. I'm like, they just hitting it 88. So they just do everything opposite. So you just gotta.
So I'm not old. It's just that they do things opposite.
They just do opposite. Man. So
I need to go where the young people are. Where y'all at? Discord,
Snapchat. They on the gram.
I ain't got time for all that.
But my thing is, Facebook groups are better. I don't like the gram, the Instagram. That's just y'all posing naked, man. Y'all ain't.
I don't even know what Instagram is for. Like what?
Posing naked. You ain't hear me, man. You got there with the shorts on. I was teaching my class. I was like, when I was young, you had to pay for this, man. Y'all just out here in bikinis and y'all just doing too much on the gram, man. Yeah, y'all like Playboy now, man. Y'all here naked on the ground.
Oh my goodness.
Snapchat, man. What y'all doing, man? Y'all here with thong bikinis on?
Oh,
I like y'all just doing too much, man. It's funny. I took my class on a digital field trip yesterday, and they really enjoyed it.
Whoa, what's that? What's a digital field trip?
Oh, none. We had the information. I think it's ISSA, Information Security Association. There's a Central Indiana chapter, and they was doing Zoom. So I just told them I was bringing my class. They were doing a forensics demo, my class, and I teach forensics, so they were really excited because they were doing.
I'm interested in forensics, Professor Black Ops.
There's no like I tell my class, it's cool. It's a specialized skill. You got to work for a specialized company because nobody has that talent in the house, and it's hard to get a job in it.
In forensics?
Who do you know do forensics? Nobody keeps that on staff. We don't keep that on staff.
What are y'all doing in there? Lord have mercy. My boys burning down the kitchen.
That's cool.
Uh,
Nobody keeps it on staff. I mean, I do it at a high level, but not at the level we need to do if we get hit by a nation state. Nobody keeps that's a specialized skill.
there's not a lot of jobs in forensics. That seems weird to me, especially with all the shit that be
Well,
popping up.
the problem is, like you said, you're right, but once you get to a certain level, we can't pay those guys. So we're not gonna pay them unless we really thought we've been hacked. I'm not gonna pay $100,000 guy just to hang out with me. We just gonna wait for you to get hacked. I mean, forensic is when you get hacked, they got to dig in, figure out how they did it. It was
So is that like
rat.
threat hunters or threat hunters, forensic people?
Yeah, that's part of threat hunting.
Okay.
Threat hunters, a lot of times they might look and find stuff on your network before you've been hacked. Because I work for a big organization in our central IT, they do have a few threat hunters on, but they don't have forensic people on staff. We outsource that. Maybe
So
like I said, I DOD we didn't have any. When we need them, we called the command and they sent out a consulting company to do that. Well, I never seen those guys just on staff. I know some guys on our staff. I have enough skills to dig and look for them, but I'm not gonna do that because if I miss something and they still on our network, I could personally be sued for that.
Ooh.
Right, and that's what I tell. So you got to be careful because once you get to a certain level, and my CISO looked it up. If we get hacked at a high enough level, like Equifax, they sued the board, the CEO who got fired, the CIO, and the CISO got fired, and they all got personally sued.
Wow.
Because we talking billions of dollars. So you know a class action lawsuit's gonna happen. It's just too easy for a lawyer to pick up.
Mm-hmm.
Like I got $2 million umbrella policy, but I'm still at a low level, but I still got it just in case.
Mm-hmm.
So a lot of people don't think about that. So if you do forensic and you miss something, you personally gonna be sued.
Wow, that's crazy.
Why is that crazy?
I'm thinking about forensics like in law enforcement.
Yeah,
If
there
I
you go,
miss,
ISIS. You on that mountain, ISIS. You gotta get dirty. You gotta come down with the little people. Because you gotta think is Equifax was after they got done, it was $2 billion. So if you miss something on $2 billion, somebody getting sued because you telling the company you good now. So if they start operating, they're not good now. They suing somebody. Because they had what was it? Half of the United States information was in Equifax. It was something crazy like that.
Well, who sued OPM? Because my little baby's got notes from that.
I was actually on OPM because I used to work for DOD. I don't know who sued OPM. That's DOD. A lot of people get scared when you sue in the government. Now they sue private business. A lot of times they get scared to sue the government.
Oh, do they?
Yeah. Because I sue Equifax. I don't know if I'm suing the United States of America. I have to tell my lawyer, hey, Claire, we got to be certain if we sue the United States of America.
All your evidence in America.
Yeah, because I used to work for a big drug company, Eli Lilly, and I was funny. They had 2 floors of lawyer. I'm like, why we got 2 goes? Dude, we're a drug company. We get sued every day. If we don't like you, we'll wait for you to die and get the money to your kids, man. That's how many lawyers we got on this floor. I was like, really? He goes, yeah, we about that life, bro.
My goodness.
I was like, why we got all these lawyers? He goes, dude, we're a drug company, man. We get sued every day, man.
Wow.
So, that's why I tell people I'm in meetings with lawyers all day now, which is crazy to me.
Uh-huh.
So, but now you got the resilience part. But like I said, if you do the NIST part with the especially 800, a lot of stuff you're gonna build, it's gonna help you build that in for you.
Mm-hmm.
Right. We were talking about the thing with the load balancer too, where you get so many CPU uses and processor. Amazon will just spin you up another web server. That's part of your resilience, resiliency. Right.
Like I need to see like I mean, I've seen some. Maybe I need to go to Amazon. I'm sure they have use cases.
No, they got a ton out there. That's what I'm kind of doing on my site. I do it NIST, rolling up to Amazon because they have all the NIST documentation that runs up to their infrastructure and how they do it. So that makes sure you're NIST compliant in the cloud because everybody's going through the cloud in the future.
What's after the cloud?
Say what?
What's after the cloud?
I think that as part of the cloud, they giving you more capabilities. So
what's after it though? What's the What's the evolution after the cloud?
Let me tell you this one thing though.
Oh,
What
okay.
Amazon doing now is you used to spin up VMs, right? Now
Mm-hmm.
what you do is you create your code. They call it serverless. So when you call your code, you tell Amazon, I want to spin up a Linux server. It just spins up underneath. You don't have to configure anything. Your code start running on the server. Once that information is done or that user signs out, the server goes away.
What?
I'll send it to you. It's called serverless.
Serverless.
Serverless. So you just do your code and it spins up the server underneath. You don't have to worry about it. So I think that's the next thing that's part of the cloud. So I think in the future that's going to be in the cloud, but you're not going to be spinning up different VMs and different networks. You're just going to call code and it's going to put it in that infrastructure at the security level you need, and you won't have to configure anything. Amazon or Azure is just going to do that for you. So that's my thing with people taking time. Oh yeah, I think admins are. And he was on it. And I asked this one white guy who was interviewing. He said serverless. He goes, that's an excellent question. He said, I read about it. He goes, yeah, the server just spins up underneath. Keep it taking your eyes got big. I'm like, dude, that's a serverless, man. So that's what I've been reading about. I did a security check on one, and the security of it wasn't at the level I needed it. But when I looked out in a user group, there was a lot of complaints about it, and Amazon was working on it. So I'm sure it's going to be up to speed. Probably that was like a year and a half ago, so I need to go check on it. Because those CIS checks, somebody said, dude, I did a scan on your serverless CIS checks, it didn't pass. Amazon guy came out and said, we on it already. We getting it ready for government security checks and make sure it passed for FISMA. So we'll have it ready. So yes, sir. So I think that's the next thing. You don't worry about your server and your hardware anymore. You just put your code out there. They call it a function. You call it, whatever server comes underneath, runs it. Once it's done, it just shuts it down.
So
you don't have to worry about it.
Do I have to be a business or some shit to do that?
No, I send it out there. Go out there. They have a developer stuff you can do for free for a year. I actually ran a business out there for a year for my lawyer for free.
Do you? I'm not a developer, though. I'm not a developer.
No, you don't have to be a developer. You just go out there and just start playing.
What is it? Tell me. Okay, so what do I type? Amazon server? Yeah, put it in the chat.
Let me see. Let me find it. Yeah, because I was just looking at AWS free.
I've been saying for like the last 20 years how I'm trying to learn how to do AWS so I can make a server. If I ain't got to do it now.
It's the free tier, right?
Because I want one. I need one for class, so I can do some stuff in class.
Yeah, I'm going to actually start doing that too because I used to program in Java, so I'm going to get my Java back home. Look in the box. I just put it in there. They had like 20 things you can get for free on their cloud. Just sign up. Like I said, I run a business out there. So if you click to the side, you can get a 12-month free trial. Got analytics, compute. That's probably what you're looking for. Game tech, Internet of Things, machine learning. I think you get it says free tier. Usually you get it for 12 months. You see it?
No, I don't see it.
I put in, let me get
I'm on the Amazon serverless site. Is that what?
Yeah, that's the serverless for the free server. Look on the look in the box. It should show up right where you put the link. You sent the link to them.
I don't see it. But this StreamYard sometime don't be sharing shit.
No, I actually went into YouTube and put it over there. I think I did. Yeah, I did it over there. I guess I can put it over here too. I put it in both. I just put in. Is that StreamYard? Yeah, StreamYard. I just put it. So yeah, that tells you it's got a lot of things out there you can do for free. Because I was going to do that, and engineering cannabis is always talking about blockchain. So I was going to see if I could do blockchain for auditing. Because once you put something in blockchain, you can't change it. So that means they could never change the audit trail. You see it?
It's not showing up on. Oh, wait a minute.
I put it in the StreamYard too.
Yeah, I'm not seeing it.
want to see it?
Well, what? Just tell me what the link is. What's the website?
Just do AWS. You sure? Look in the. I just put it in the private chat in the stream yard. You don't see it?
Oh, private chat.
I did it in the private chat. My fault. I just looked at it. Say private. I guess I could do it in the comments.
I'm looking at the regular.
My fault. I just happened to look up and see you see it.
Nah, you good. Yeah, I got it.
Click on it and it shows you. Don't click on it. We can just walk through it at a high level.
Okay, AWS free tier.
Yeah, then look to the left. It says 12 months, always free trials. And if you look at all the products you could do, there's databases, development tools, game tech for your kids, machine learning, Internet of Things, migration, robotics. Amazon got everything.
All right, what do I need? Is serverless? Is that the one?
No, you probably need compute with the EC2. That's your thing. Then you said you want to spin up probably on serverless storage. It's on the storage.
Compute. Oh Lord, I don't know what all this stuff is. EC2, Lambda.
Yeah, Lambda is where you actually write code, and Lambda actually spins up in the serverless. That's actually a Java function or a C# function, and when you run it, the serverless comes underneath that code for you.
What do I need if I just want to have a server to use for my Linux class or something?
I think it's compute the EC2. If you look at EC2, here's the first one, free tier. If you hover over it, if you look right when you hover over it, it says you can have Windows on it or Linux. You have 750 hours a month of Linux, Red Hat Linux, SUSE Linux, and a micro instance. And a micro will be big enough.
Okay.
Micro, I think, is usually you get 2 CPUs with 2 cores apiece, I think. So then you got to spin it up.
Oh, they got case at the bottom. Cool. You got case studies at the bottom of your page.
Oh yeah, they got everything.
Okay, thank you for this. This is
yeah. So you can do you get it for free. Like I said, my friend had a compliance business. I actually spun up Red Hat Linux, and I think I ran Apache, and I ran Moodle on it, which is an e-learning system.
Oh yeah.
Here I say something else. It's cheap, but this is how I cheat us sometimes.
Do you have a side business?
I freelance. If you go to, I go to Upwork. I used to go to Upwork and freelance.
Oh, Upwork, do you? Okay.
Yeah, because you can just bid on stuff. And my attorney, she used to bid on state contracts. So then I used to help her with the computer part of that.
Oh, cool.
And this website, bitnami.org, I just put it in a private chat. What that does is
Bitnami.
Yeah, what that does is it's I call it a skeleton. So like you're looking at EC2 and you're looking at Moodle and all that. You go to Bitnami and you go to Moodle, you pick AWS, and once you sign up for the free, Bitnami will charge you like $10 a month, but it'll build all that stuff for you for free. Like it'll put it in 2 tiers, it'll put the database up there and the website, and it does all that for you for free, but not for free. That's what you pay. Bitnami set that up with best practices for you. So I was looking at, because then I was like, okay, I got to do EC2, then I got to put my own database. And I found, for some reason, I don't know how I found Bitnami, and I looked at, you just click a button and it just builds it for you. I'm like, I'm going to do that. And it was cheap, maybe $20 or something.
Yeah.
So I was like, I can do that. So then I got the free Amazon, and I used that to build that on the free Amazon until I figured out kind of what I was doing. And once I built it, then I started looking at the components separately. But when I was trying to do Moodle, and they had a web server and an app server and a database, I was like, how am I going to do this? And I looked at Bitnami, it's like, just sign up and hit a button, and we'll build it for you. I was like, bet.
What's the catch? Ain't got no catch?
Nah, a little price. And it wasn't bad. And I ran it, and it ran smooth. We put our videos out there. We did training. We actually went to a local college and hired this girl. She had a green screen for free for her class. We paid her like $10 an hour. She used what we were doing for her senior project. That's how we got our training money up. That's how we did it. So I was managing the database. We was my attorney was reading these laws for compliance.
Yeah.
I don't know if you remember when was that? When Obama was in, they were doing weatherization to get money to people. They were doing weatherization where they were weatherizing seniors and poor people's houses.
Yeah,
There
yeah.
was so much money in there, they start hiring compliance people to go out there and check to make sure these organizations were spending the money right.
Mm-hmm.
So my attorney was doing, I said, well, I can create you a database and you can type it all in one place. When your people go out to these different locations, then I could just have all the reports come out for you. She said, okay, good. So we did it, and her client loved it. It's like, you're the best compliance person we got, because it's all in there. You gave us a little website we could look at. We had little charts. Vietnam did most of that. I was just kind of keeping it running. So they would go on site. If they had laptops, they would sign in.
Yeah.
So yeah, so that's kind of why I did it. And they got a lot of stuff on Vietnam, like different Moodle, Canvas, e-learning. They got, I forgot that one thing, CRM stuff. They got different products. So just kind of figure out what you want to do. Click on it. And I just built it on that free Amazon. We ran it for a year for free.
That is really nice. So I want to see what it looks like though. Okay, I'm gonna investigate this.
So yeah, I do a lot of stuff. I be on my grind.
You do.
I be on my grind.
You absolutely do. Well, thank you so much, Professor. This was nice. I always get some stuff with you up here. I tell you the truth. I'm gonna have to call this the person-centered cyber /
I just talked to my big boss. He's a CISO for a big government agency because you know, keep it tech. I'm gonna start interviewing people. So I'm trying to get this brother. He actually is the CIO.
When are you going to check his channel?
Huh?
When is your interview with him?
I haven't set it up yet. I'm trying to get at least 10 to 15 videos so I can at least have something. I tell people to subscribe. I at least want to have something for them to look at. So I've been working on getting my content up so I can have people subscribe first. So I've been doing this stuff. You should go out there and look at my software assessment because I did a little red team. I actually, I don't know what made me do it. I did a software assessment of Papa John's. Then I went over. Then I went over and did one with Panera Bread. They flunked. I did it's called QualSys, so it grades a web server. Anything less than an A is flunking. They got a B. Then when I did their thing, it showed their web server. Mm-hmm. So I circled their web server, and when I looked at it, it showed 10 high-level vulnerabilities on their web server. Mm. So I said, well, we really can hack their web server if we look at these vulnerabilities. But this is about compliance. We're not going to get it. That's just a little red team. Then I looked on their privacy. They're sending your data overseas to international offices and stuff. Panera.
They getting paid for that?
Probably. What they're doing is they're combining it with Snapchat and Facebook. They're making a digital dossier. Because I get a lot. I go to high-end restaurants. So now what comes on my Facebook feed, I get coupons and stuff to get me to go to high-end restaurants. Panera is a kind of a high-end fast food. So you sell that data because most people buying Panera is going to buy Ruth Chris, probably on that level. So they sell your data and they combine it with others. And they're geolocating you. Mm-hmm. So if you check in and you got your location on, they follow you around to see what stores you go by and what stores you go into. So they sell it. But then I'm cool with that, but you can't send my stuff overseas. So I show on their privacy thing where they're selling your stuff overseas. So I basically said, I'm about to do something specific on Panera Bread. I think I'm going to say, great food by security. Wouldn't put my credit card in there to save my life. And I'm going to kind of just pull that out. I'll probably go get a cease and desist letter because I'm going to actually put on their website the comments. I'm trying to go viral so I can get these 4,000
All right now, that'll do it.
But do me a favor when you get a chance. It's short. It's like 7 minutes, 8 minutes. Go look at it and give me a little feedback.
Yeah, absolutely. I will. I thought I put the thing on to get alerts when you make a video, but
yeah, just go look at it. My class loved it. I let them see it. They said I talked too quick.
I'm definitely gonna look at that.
I said, chill out. They said you didn't work on your production value. I'm like, hold tight. I got 18 subscribers. I'm working on quantity, not quality now. Like, ease up on me, class. I'm flunking all of y'all, man. Y'all better ease up on me. I'm flunking all of y'all.
Work on your production, huh? Your lighting, your boom. Where your boom guy at?
They said, what's up with the sound? I was like, yeah, I'm working on that, man. I was like, ease up on me. ease up on me. I'm flunking all y'all. So we was just,
I know, right?
they was like, we should do ethical hacking. I'm like, this is forensic. They said, we right there with Panera. You circled it. I was like, ease up. I said, ease up, class. So they were joking. They was like, but this book is good. We should do ethical hacking. Like, no, I just want to walk through you with how to do a software assessment, right? Because all that's really part of forensics, right? Because you got to have all that in so you can figure out how somebody hacked you, right? And two, kind of like resilience. You looked at them like, dude, this web server was end of life in 2017, man. You got to keep updated on your software. Yeah. So we went out to Apache and I showed where it said end of life in 2017. So,
so do they have people like you in those restaurants, or do they just call you in?
I think, no, what happens is, and a lot of people don't think about it, they probably outsourced it and they would not really think about it because they're thinking, hey, we take, food. A lot of times they don't think of this is just food, but I'm like, dude, you taking people's credit cards for delivery in here, man. So you got your SSL got big, but they don't think about that. See, I like I said, that's why my main job is go out and just pick software apart, right? Like technology, then privacy, right? Where are you sending my data? Who's controlling it? Where is it going? Can I control it? Can I delete it? So looking at Panera, nope. It's like nope. Now they're controlling all of that. Then they tell you basically, yeah, if the FBI police come over, we handing all your data over too. I'm like, come on, at least Facebook will fight for me a little bit. But yeah, just go peek at it when you get a chance.
I will. I'll get a chance as soon as I'm done here.
Yeah, let me know. So like I said, I've got a couple because that one lady, the white supremacists tried to kidnap the governor from Michigan. So they were talking about they hacked their phones. They thought they were using encryption apps, and the FBI and the government hacked their phones. So
hey, Coles. Somebody just said hi.
Oh, so that's so yeah. So I'm going to do a little report on that. Did you see the new Amazon Ring? They got this plane that they got this drone that comes out in your house and flies to where the noise is and videotapes it.
For what?
Huh?
You said a drone that videotapes your house where the noise is. So
you got the Amazon alarm, right? So if somebody comes in your front door with noise, right, you can be in your bedroom with the phone. The drone is gonna fly out to your door so you can actually see what happens. Is you don't have to pick your face around there. You don't have to walk around in there. So we were debating like, okay, that's cool, but if a hacker hacks that, now I'm in your house flying your drone around, taking a picture and everything. So I was kind of walking through that. I put that link in there. That's my second one. I'm probably gonna do.
The Amazon alarm. I didn't even know they had an Amazon. I don't know why I didn't know that. They got
it's Amazon Ring, and if you do that, do Amazon Ring with the drone. It just came out. I saw a couple people talking about it, but not from a security and privacy.
Yeah, I could be an early adopter of that stuff because I know. I mean, it's gonna have to be here for a while. If it took me years to get the Kindle. Okay.
No, I feel you. I'm kind of a little late on that. Because I like I said, I always think of it from a cybersecurity place. I'm like, well, if they hack it, and they watching me walk around in my house in my boxers, I mean, what is that? What's my liability? What's the worst side of that can happen?
See what? So how do you get? So regular people don't think like that. What I'm thinking is
they don't.
Nice. Somebody come here. The drone come take his picture. That's what I'm thinking.
My thing is, can I get the drone to fly around the outside of my house? Can I be watching my neighbors? That's what I was gonna see. Can I do that? Probably. So that was my next thing I was gonna kind of see. So that's
my
second
assumption as a consumer. The assumption is this thing only works for which it was purposed.
Mm-hmm. Is that you or me?
Huh?
Is that me or you? Oh, that's me. Hold on, let me see.
All that crackling noise, that's you.
Yeah, no, that's. Click on that thing I just put in the private chat. Just real quick, it's gonna come up. I looked at it, I was like, yeah, that's kind of cool, but I'm not for that.
Oh, you know what? Somebody mentioned in a conversation I overheard that Cuba was making some pretty amazing innovations in security and IT because they're not being influenced like by the rest of the world. They're just, being creative on their own. Have you heard anything about that?
I have not, because the crazy thing is,
I meant to
usually,
look into that.
usually we lead in the world, so I would be real surprised. But like you said,
Yeah.
though, you kind of getting you right. I think we have rote memory for a certain segment, but I think there's MIT with their advanced lab, Harvard with their advanced lab, Harvard. All of them got. I think Harvard's got $1 trillion endowment, so they have money to try. That's why Marketberg started. They were like, "Here, Mark, take some money, spin up some servers, so
Mhm.
pay us back when you become wealthy." So they started making venture incubators in those big universities. Michigan's got them. You see that drone flying around?
I see it.
That's scary. It's cool, but I'm like, yeah, what if I hack it? I'm flying around your house while you gone. So that's gonna be my next. That's gonna be my third video I'm about to do. What's the ramifications about that? Could I hack it?
Yeah.
You got that's the look I had. It was cool, but then I was kind of having like a little disgusting when I started thinking about like, I don't know how cool that is. So then okay, it's wireless, obviously. So is that encrypted? So I was gonna see if I could figure out what part of that. Because if it's wireless and I'm looking on my phone, okay, that's probably Bluetooth. Is that encrypted? How's that? Can my neighbor jump on that channel? So that's what we're gonna see some stuff to see if I can figure out
Yeah.
from a software assessment. So I'll probably do that.
What else is it collecting? Like what other information?
Probably geolocating. But the problem with that is Amazon Ring doorbell for security. They made a partnership with the police, so the police was getting all that video.
Hmm.
So a lot of people thought that was privacy. So they signed up for it. But if I was walking in front of your house and your doorbell was watching me, now I'm suddenly showing up on the police's when they looking for faces. Now my face is showing up on their database because I was just walking in front of your house. So now if that thing's flying around and I'm walking across your street while that thing's flying around, am I in that video? Probably. If I'm your neighbor and it's looking across the street while it's flying, am I in your video? Probably.
Wow.
So a lot of people are complaining about that. So I'm gonna put that in with them and their program sharing with their Ring doorbell with the police and how that would be a privacy issue.
So I read this article this lady wrote. She was talking about how asking for privacy, she said, is like asking for scraps at the table, right?
Yeah.
What we really need to be asking for is possession of our data,
Yeah,
instead of settling.
that's been talked about for a while because people don't realize is that's how Facebook is a $1 billion company. They're selling your data, right? That's really your data they're selling. But you sign it over because you're using their platform for free. I think I told you that one of my students came up. He goes, if you're not paying for the product, you are the product. I'm like, dude, I'm giving you an A. I just like how that sounds.
Right.
Like, that's good.
That's
You're not
so
paying for the
true.
product, you are the product.
Yeah,
I like you getting an A, homie. I like that. That was good.
absolutely. Yeah. Google out here pimping me like I don't know what they
Oh man,
pimping.
but Facebook's got the most though. Facebook got the most by far. Google's
All
getting
this
better
stuff.
because you finally logging into Google. But a lot of times, if you don't log in Google, Google's saying, "Okay, I assume that's you. That's your IP. I pretty much know your home." You check into Facebook. You automatically log in Facebook. You tell Facebook your family. You like stuff, so Facebook know. I tell my be joking my class. Facebook know who you married to, know your brothers, know what you drink, know who your side babe is, because you IM her. They read your IM. They know who your side chick is. You IM her on the DL. Because if you put something in Facebook instant message, it shows up in your ads. If you put vacation, your ad's gonna change to vacation. Right? You check into the high restaurant, your ad's gonna join Iris. So Facebook's got the most data of anybody.
And they have a dating site too.
Oh yeah, but they got the dating site. Then they put Craigslist out of business. They got the Facebook Marketplace. Most people
They
put
do.
this.
I actually sold 2 bikes on Facebook.
There you go. Now Facebook know you got bikes. Now see, they know
I
you
got them the
exercise.
most.
They know you was exercising, so you gonna get some more exercise out. You gonna need a new bike. But
They
Facebook
got
got the most out. You can rent houses on Facebook now. They got real estate.
shipping. They have shipping now.
Oh yeah, and two, people don't realize this is Facebook is even more thing. When you go to an app, it asks you, do you want to authenticate through Facebook? Facebook is
Mm-hmm.
going to be the active directory for the whole internet.
Oh, yes. Wow.
And you didn't even realize this. The other thing you didn't realize, which you don't do, Africa and those small countries, you can move money through Facebook Messenger like you Western Union or MoneyGram, because when you're a small company, they use Facebook as the bank in foreign
Now,
countries.
I have sent money through Facebook, but
So you got to think, they a bank. They started moving enough money, they get a bank. So people don't realize what the level Facebook's moving. People just don't realize that. Then they bought Instagram.
They did.
You don't know that? Yeah, Facebook
I
owns
did not
Instagram.
know that.
Yeah, Facebook. They tried to buy Snapchat, but the young guy didn't want to sell it. He offered him $800 million when it was 3 years old, and the young dude said no. I told him if I was dad, I'd have whooped his ass. Google it. It'll tell you. It'll tell you. He offered
Wow.
They had lunch, man. He's like, $800 million. It was some crazy number. Guy's like, no, I think it's gonna. Huh? Yeah. He thought it was gonna be bigger. I'm like, you crazy, man. I'm from the hood. I took that. I'd have been done, but have it. I want to ask for no residuals. Just take it, man. I don't want no board seat. I'm done, man. I'm in some foreign country like the old dude, Speedo, belly hanging out with my Speedo on. I'm be doing the most, fool. If I get 800 million, it's over with.
I know that's right. So one of my 5-year goals, right? In 5 years, I want to be able to buy an island. So I've been looking at them. It won't be around here because these,
No, I've seen a couple
of
cheaper islands, but I'm like an island.
Yeah, to buy an island, and I want to have on it. There's this guy. My friend told me about him, and I went on his website. But he builds tree houses, but they're like houses, But they're have you? Oh my God!
I tell you, the newest thing out this, I wouldn't say cooler than that, but it's different. Everybody's taking those containers, those big metal containers that you move freight in. They're cutting them up and they're putting them together like Legos. They call it container homes. Yeah, there goes. You on YouTube? I seen a couple people. Yeah, they're taking those big metal containers that they move with a railroad.
Are they?
Huh?
Mortgage free.
Say that again. You figured it out.
How do you pay for that? Like you got to pay a mortgage or something?
No, I think as long as you own a container, you probably have to pay on the land. And they just cutting them up and they running electricity.
Oh, these are nice. Ooh.
Yeah. So yeah, I do a lot. I look at a lot of different stuff. I'm kind of weird.
Wow.
I tell people when I was poor, I'm weird. But now I got a little money. I call myself eccentric. I'm a little eccentric.
That's what it is. You're eccentric. Yes.
Yeah, I got a little more. I got a little money in my pocket. I'm eccentric.
You have eclectic taste.
Yeah.
Right.
So I was looking at that. I was like, okay, that's a little different. So,
oh my God, it's so pretty.
Yeah, I would never think about taking metal containers and looking at them like and hooking them up like that. And one lady, she did 2-3 stores. She stacked them like half on one. Then she cut it all the way straight up. So now you got like steps going up. I was like, okay. So yeah,
and they're cheap. 56,000.
Yeah, but I think you got to move them where you need them though. Depending on where you taking them though, because you got to load them up on a truck and get them placed to where you need them. But actually, I ordered a crane, and I was surprised a crane wasn't that expensive. I had a big crane. I was putting up some trusses on a house, and I was surprised the crane wasn't super expensive.
I have to look into these. These are very, very nice.
But yeah, that should be enough to keep you thinking. Go out there and look at that software assessment.
A lot of great stuff today.
Okay. Like
I need to be doing this on your channel.
No, it's fine. Like I said, I'm gonna start spinning up Amazon. Like you said, I'm gonna spin it up Zero Trust for one, like we talked about, and I'm gonna I'm spin up a DR site, multiple locations, one on East Coast and one on the West Coast for resiliency. So, and I'll put that on my channel. We'll go through it and just kind of talk about it from a NIST level, because that's kind of what I'm focusing on, NIST on my channel.
Yeah.
NIST, like we said, going down to the actual implementation of the CIS check, so you can see it from the top to the bottom. So,
and like I said, I was very surprised to see those other CIS checks that I asked you about.
Yeah, they're all out there. There's very few.
Proactive.
Yeah, then two, if they're not out there, usually which they have generic checks. So if you pick a database that they don't have a specific check, there's a generic database out there that you could do on that type of database.
Yeah, there's just so much to do in this area. I mean, like a lot of choices.
Yeah, like I tell people, like I tell my students, is if you want to make money, you need to focus. Journalists don't get paid. I'm a wide receiver. I'm a specialist. So I specialize in web server and app server. And I've just been doing it so much, it just keeps stacking on each other. So like when I was younger, I used to say, this 6 months, I'm gonna learn everything I can about databases and security. Web server security. And I was doing Java, then VM, and then you just kind of stack it, and networking and VLANs. And that serverless, that's kind of hot. So that's what I'm trying to master now. When that spins up, how can I security check that server to make sure it's okay on that serverless computer?
You know what? Eli, the computer guy, may have been talking about serverless. I'm gonna have to go back over his channel. He don't talk about that stuff no more. Like he talk about politics and stuff now, but I like the way he explains things. I'm gonna have to go over there and see if that's what he was talking about.
Probably, because like I said, keep it techie. Interviewed this one guy, and at the end, I asked him that. He was smiling. He goes, "Yeah, I've been reading about that on Amazon." He said, "Yeah, that's my, take a hit on the jobs, because you won't need admins anymore."
Man, you won't need admins anymore. And I read that too with the what was it called? Infrastructure as code.
Code, yeah, that's part of it too. Because what happens is I need 2 or 3, maybe 2, because they're gonna do the code as an infrastructure. Once we said okay, then it's just gonna spin up. I don't have to check it. They validate it. I don't have to load them on each code. When it spins up, it's gonna build with that infrastructure as a code automatically.
Yeah.
Right. Then when I spin it up, it's gonna put it in the right VLAN. It's gonna put it in the right thing. The IP address. Gonna put it in my firewall, so it'll be open and only can talk to what it can talk to, like we talked about. So and all this is gonna be automatic once you get that infrastructure as a code. That's why. So keep saying, "Oh no, we gonna need the same amount of people." I'm like, "No, you're not." No, you're not. So I will go to the channel. We'll talk about. And like I said, I just give people stuff to think about, man. I'm not out know it all. I'm gonna give you what I understand. You do the research and let me know. Because my research is pretty thorough. I'm just not making this up off the cuff. So this I go. So if I got infrastructure as a code and I got serverless, right, and I'm spinning up VM, why do I need 10 admins now? So I asked, well, you got, so why do I need them? It's going to just, Amazon's taking care of that for me. Right. So now I just need to work on my business logic. Right. And as an investor, that's what I want to work on. I don't really want, like you said, I don't really want to worry about security. I want to think about that. Amazon's going to let me bake that in up front. All right. So now I just work on my business logic so I can be the next Instagram, Snapchat, Quicken, whatever that is. Right? I can just focus on that.
Nice. All right.
Do that for me and we'll talk.
Yeah.
Just software assessment. Like I said, it shows like 7 minutes. My class liked it. Like I said, I'm a cut that part out of it and kind of redo it to attack Panera Bread. Tell them they're crappy.
Are you really gonna post it on their thing?
I'm thinking about it. I might.
Do it, man.
I tell people I'm smart but not very bright. There's a difference. I'm smart but not very bright. So I'm thinking about it. I don't even know if I have to do that. I know if because I got some people that love Panera and they kind of in that bougie area. So I think if I put it on their pages, it'll just kind of take off. Because a lot of people like, Panera Bread sucks and security, cybersecurity. I think that just might take off on its own.
Just put it on Twitter and
I'm not even on Twitter. I need to get out there. I understand it. I just don't like that tweeting. That's a young man game.
Message. You're sending a text.
I know. I actually created Twitter. I thought about it. I did a tickler app. I'm like, I did Twitter in 1985. We call it the tickler. So,
oh, did you?
Yeah. Basically, I worked for a company that build property. They build large $100 million malls. So the owners put their money up for the land. So you got to do a soil sample assessment, all these stuff, property tax at certain time frames. So after 30 days before that, I would send them a text to their phone. And they would just turn around and ask their department what was going on. Because they're like, dude, I got $500,000 on this quarter-acre land in New York. So we got to be hitting these marks so I can build what I need to build. I'm thinking, that's Twitter doing. You just sending people when you sign up, then you get a message. So, and it was funny because the guys on the team's like, can we get that message 3 days early? Because he said this dude wakes up at 4 a.m. and he just sends out WTS. And I was like, what's WTS? He goes, what's the status of my money?
Oh, wow.
He said, so can you send that us 3 days? Because he be yelling at us, man. He got like $1 million worth of land out here, man. He'd be very upset if we late. So can you help us out? Like, yeah, I can sign you up. Yeah, I can get 3 days earlier than him. So it was funny. I'm like, dude, I created that in 85. It's funny. I just never thought about scaling it out to do something like that. So yeah.
Wow, that's awesome.
But yeah, look at that. Like some great relax, watching me a little basketball.
Okay. Well, thanks again for coming up here.
That's cool. Look at those Amazon free tiers, which is cool. Check out the Big Nami. You look at the drone and check out that little software assessment. Then we good.
I will. All
right.
And I'll come on and talk about all that stuff too, probably.
Okay, like I said, yeah, that's cool. And like you said, I probably mentioned those on my channel too, because a lot of people don't know that stuff's out there for you free to play with.
Yeah.
Like I said, originally I was doing stuff on Bitnami, doing with stuff on Amazon. Like you said, I think I'm a study for the associate architecture on Amazon.
Oh, really? Oh, cool.
Yeah, because that's the future. I mean, hell, it's not the future. It's now. I need to get in front of it. I'm a little late, so best way to take the cert, because that kind of force you to get into it.
So what is it called?
They have different ones. They got developer, and they have an associate architect.
So that's a cert or a degree?
Cert.
Huh? Through who?
Amazon. I mean, it's like CompTIA or I think I need to look. Let me look real quick. You got me thinking now, like.
I've never seen that on CompTIA. Associate architect?
Yeah, associate architect. Maybe I'm making it up, man. I might be so tired sometimes. Here it is, certified AWS certified architecture course. Udemy them's got course on it, and this is by Amazon. Yeah, here it is. I'll put it in the chat. I think it's by Amazon. It looks like Amazon's scheduling it. So that's so I was gonna do my CISP and jump on this. So you see it? I just put it in the chat right underneath the drawing.
Okay, I see. Yep. Oh, certified architect.
Yeah.
Okay.
So a friend of mine has one of those. I used to work with at DOD. He said it wasn't too bad. So I'm going to get that in there, because the cloud, you got to get to the cloud. Everybody's going to end up at the cloud. If you ain't in the cloud, you're trying to get to the cloud. And like I said, I did a little work in Silicon Valley. Anything you spin up, they're not letting you buy hardware. You got to put it in the cloud, because if it don't work, they don't want to own that hardware. So yeah, that's what I'll probably start studying for. I'm going to do my CISP. Then I'll probably start studying for that, and that'll kind of force me to get my cloud skills up.
Very nice. All right, Professor. Thank you again.
You're good. Like I said, give me a little feedback in the comments on that. Well, yeah, if I don't like them, I can delete it.
Man.
I can delete it. Yeah, just put a lot of comment on there.
I will.
All right, I'll talk to you later. Have a good night.
All right. Have a good night. And bye, everybody else. Thank you so much for hanging out with us. I appreciate you. And I'll see you all back here next time, okay? All right. Have a good night.